Emergency flares drift over the Taipei skyline. The drone of air raid sirens drowns out the wind. The Taiwan Strait. May 2027. Radar screens across the Pacific go dead. The People's Liberation Army Navy, PLAN, has initiated the Anaconda strategy, a total naval quarantine. Then, the sky erupts. Not with lightning, but with the sonic boom of hypersonic missiles. 2 V-22 Ospreys drop from the clouds, running dark, skimming just 50 feet above the chaotic swells of the South China Sea. They don't land. They hover over a rooftop helipad in the Hsinchu Science Park. Fast ropes kick out. 24 operators hit the concrete and vanish into the ventilation systems. This unit has one directive: ensure the world's most valuable technology never falls into Beijing's hands. No extraction plan. No air support. Just high explosives and a mission that will bankrupt the global economy. And let's be clear, this is a wargame scenario. We aren't looking at political rhetoric or diplomatic posturing. We are looking at the hard math of kinetic warfare. The question is terrifyingly simple. Could 24 operators destroy the engine of the modern world before a superpower captures it? Or would this trigger a nuclear exchange that resets humanity? Let's run the sim. By sunrise, their insertion point is a claustrophobic nightmare. The streets are gridlocked with refugees, the internet is severed, and panic is absolute. But the chaos provides the ultimate cover. The TSMC foundries, clean rooms responsible for 90% of the world's advanced microchips, are a fortress. Civilians represent collateral damage. The invading PLA troops are strictly focused on securing these buildings intact. This is the western coast, right in the teeth of the invasion force. The only thing louder than the chaos in the streets is the silence from the White House. They have a window of perhaps 72 hours. The island is about to turn into a kill box. By day 3, fuel reserves run dry. But they chose this moment for a reason. It's the only timeline where the confusion of the initial blockade masks their entry. Drop in later, and the airspace is a no-fly dome protected by S-400 missile batteries. You'd be painted by radar and vaporized before you saw the coast. But land now. You own the confusion for 24 hours. The team wastes no time. They ditch the heavy armor and non-essentials in the sub-basement, jam local frequencies, and deploy localized signal dampers. Just 24 Tier 1 assets in the dark, standing inside a factory worth more than the GDP of most nations. They are engineers of destruction. Each man carries a suppressed SIG MCX and a sidearm, but their real weapon is in the rucksacks. Thermite charges, malware-injecting USB drives, and solid-state drive magnets. But logistics are a disaster. Each operator has 72 hours of water. Limited ammo. Their comms are strictly line of sight to avoid triangulation. They can scavenge food, but the clock is already ticking. The objective isn't to save Taiwan. It is to enact the broken nest policy, destroying the prize so the conqueror inherits nothing but ash. Their next move determines the fate of the 21st century. How do you erase the digital age with 24 rifles? The commander weighs 3 options. Option A, the Alamo. Fortify the main entrance and hold off the PLA ground forces until the US Navy arrives. Heroic, but delusional. They'd be flattened by artillery or bypassed entirely. Option B, the extraction. Secure the top scientists and smuggle them to a submarine. Risks are too high, the waters are mined, and a submarine surfacing is a death sentence. They go with Option C, the silicon scorched earth. Surgical sabotage, rig the extreme ultraviolet, EUV, lithography machines, trigger a meltdown, and fade into the population. They won't fight the army, they will bankrupt it. They utilize the facility's own automated security against the invaders. In a building designed to filter out dust particles, a man with a thermite grenade is a catastrophe. First target, the power substation. The operators strike at 0300. With precise hacking tools, they override the cooling systems of the backup generators. They melt the copper wiring into slag. Then they vanish into the service tunnels. At sunrise, the PLA commanders see the lights flicker. The lack of data is terrifying. The next night, they hit the wafer storage vaults. The silicon disks aren't stolen, they are shattered. Just enough damage to halt production. The following night, unexplained fires break out in the chemical storage wings. The PLA generals demand answers, but their surveillance feeds are looping old footage. The eyes of the factory are blind. By now, Beijing is furious. The invaders do what superpowers always do. they escalate. Airborne troops drop onto the factory roofs. Armored columns smash through the perimeter gates. But does it matter? The operators are deep in the infrastructure. They move through the cleaner ducts, bypassing the hallways. Through fiber optic cameras, they watch the enemy securing empty rooms. They leave behind false flags, dummy explosives, looped audio of gunfire. The invading special forces end up hunting ghosts. Next strike, the water filtration plant. It supplies the ultra-pure water needed to etch chips. A binary explosive on the main pumps creates a catastrophic pressure wave. Contaminants flood the system. The chips are ruined. Then, they isolate a priority target moving toward the central fabrication floor. A delegation of Beijing's top semiconductor engineers. The ambush is set in the server room. 2 breach charges on the cooling pipes fill the hallway with blinding steam. The first volley takes out the security detail. The second disables the elevators. Then the rifles go to work. Precise, double taps. In 8 seconds, the enemy's technical expertise is erased. No one left to reboot the system. Every move is coordinated by a hacked internal security AI. To the PLA, this isn't resistance. This is industrial sabotage on a biblical scale. The US 7th Fleet is still days away. News travels at the speed of the internet. The sabotage team moves at the speed of a circuit breaker. The PLA is locking down the district to stop the bleeding. The streets are empty. The power is fading. And then, the checkmate. Under the cover of a chemical alarm they triggered themselves, the team moves to the heart of the facility. No stealth now. They sprint through the decontamination airlocks. They reach the ASML lithography machines, monoliths worth $200 million each. A shaped charge, magnetically attached to the laser aperture, arms with a high-pitched whine. No turning back. They slip out through the waste disposal chutes, waist-deep in industrial runoff, moving beneath the city. They navigate toward the extraction sewer outlet. 2 operators stack up on the blast doors to the underground exit. They bypass the electronic locks with a localized EMP silent. Smooth. Flashbangs deploy into the alleyway. Bang. Flash. The white phosphorus burns the retinas of the PLA patrol waiting outside. They drop to the asphalt, blinded, before they can raise their QBZ-95 rifles. The team splits. Alpha Element secures the perimeter. Bravo Element triggers the remote detonators. Inside the factory, hell breaks loose. The thermite burns through the delicate mirrors and lenses of the EUV machines. The vacuum chambers implode. The sensors melt. The brain of the global economy is lobotomized before the invaders even realize they VE-1 a graveyard. Total time on target, 11 minutes. By dawn, the Hsinchu Science Park is a smoking ruin. The production lines are dead. The golden goose has been slaughtered in the night. The operators have set the global tech industry back 20 years in less than a week. The invasion is technically a success. The city is occupied. But can China rule a digital world without chips? No, absolutely not. When the markets realize the new iPhone production line is a puddle of molten plastic, the global depression will be instantaneous. The operators' batteries are dead. The enemy search grid is tightening around their extraction point. But the mission is accomplished. The US could launch a counterattack or threaten nuclear retaliation. But they don't need to. Once the supply chain shock hits, the starvation begins, not of food, but of data. The global economy fractures, or perhaps unites against the aggressor who broke the internet. But one thing is guaranteed: the era of cheap electronics is over. They didn't win the war. They didn't save the island. They simply proved that the digital age is fragile. For decades, economists will argue, was it worth it? To burn the village to save it? Or did we just commit suicide to spite the enemy? So, could a single SEAL platoon stop a superpower? Tactically, no, the invasion succeeded. But strategically, they just turned a victory into a global funeral. What scenario scares you the most? A kinetic bombardment from orbit? Or a biological leak in a megacity? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for the next simulation.